How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of FSI's NASCAR DFS content. We have the Xfinity Series at Talladega. I am your host, TK Nation 47, joined by Mega Roller 31. How are you doing today, Mega? Are we going to get some racing in, or is the rain clouds going to continue to follow this circuit everywhere it goes?
I don't know if it's like biblical. Like I was watching the news this morning, and they were actually at the track, and it looks like Noah's Ark should be built in the midfield there. So
yeah, pretty much. Severe weather storms early today. They had said that the bulk of it was moving through in the morning, but there's still going to be some lingering showers throughout the day. And as we know, this is a big, huge plate track, and it's going to take a while to dry this track. And I don't know if we can get it in because Talladega doesn't have any lights. It's one of the most frustrating things to me that they start these races at Talladega so late, knowing the season and knowing that they don't have any lights. It's just they continue to amaze us with their inept ability to host racing events. And just furthermore dismay, if you ask me, just getting tired of the rain. But we're here to talk some picks. We have the AG Pro 300. It's 113 laps on, I believe, a 2.5 mile oval. Super fast track. Some of the fastest speeds you're going to see in NASCAR. And typically, this is going to be one of those tracks where we're going to get a lot of wrecks. We have 40 cars. 40, half of them are probably not even a threat to win. Going to be a lot of inexperience on this track. There's going to be a lot of wrecks, and typically place differential is king with the fluctuation in lead laps and fastest laps. So with that being said, Mega, let's get into some picks.
Before we have Austin, we have
to, you want to add anything on?
Put up their hand and say the pledge. I do not need to use all of my allotted money.
Yeah, that's huge.
Because honestly, in some of my builds, I have anywhere from $8,000 to $20,000 left.
Yeah.
So do not try to use all the money. Number one rule.
Very common mistake on plate races. You think you're getting a better play with a better driver starting up front. Looks like it's a nice, shiny, little cool lineup. That could quickly turn to dust. If you get one of these guys up front, he gets too close to one another and they lose air, and there goes half of the starting lineup. So, yes, leave salary if you need to. So we have Austin Cindric on the pole sitter. Go ahead.
Let's play it this way, because most of the industry will tell you to stack from like 25 on back. So
I don't think you stack from the back.
Well, let's break down those guys, and then let's go back up to the top to see,
Okay, you want to reverse this one?
Yeah, let's reverse this. Okay. So I think I'm comfortable at starting at probably about 24th, because Greg Galding, even though Daytona, he started like 35th and finished 34th. He has some Cup experience, and it's a decent car. So at 53, I definitely like him in cash. I think he'll be fairly hot. I would say like super chalky, but I think he'll have some decent ownership there. So going to 25th, Curly, I'm not too hot on him. I think he's a GPP with the price and everything. He fits in there, but he's not one. He in Stars in the Hattori car. The Hattori car's been fast. It's a decent program for like a single team, but I feel that they are more like GPP plays. I don't like them as much as I like Galding and Hill, who's starting 27th. I think those two guys I prefer. So if you want some differentiation, Curly Star would be ones to throw in there, but I think Hill and Galding are definitely ones that I would put in my player pool. Thoughts on those?
I do like Hill. He stuck out to me. I always look to him.
He finished 20th at Daytona, same car.
Yeah.
So I don't think you risk a start and park in this one. Like the super speedways are like a race that people want to go and race. It's not like your average, let's just get through the season or let's show up and get a paycheck one. People want to be in this race. They want
Yeah,
to compete here.
yeah, it's Talladega. And I do know Timmy Hill is not a starting park. Greg Golding, you pretty much sold me on. I didn't really look too much into him. But Starr and Curry aren't bad picks. But I'm not going to have too much differentiation in my lineups. I'm just going to have a solid core and kind of run with it. So I'll probably just be Team Hill and Golding in this area. Caesar Baccarella and Gase.
Caesar finished 12th at Daytona, but I don't know, like 68. I know we're not really worried about salary here.
No, salary is no issue.
Yeah, I just look at like he did well there, but I look at some of the other races and it was like in the 30s. So I think he might drop back a little bit. GGM racing's okay. It's not one that I feel like the cars are completely gonna fall apart. So
is this the 90 car?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that tells me what I didn't know.
Okay,
it's Joey Gase has got a lot of experience in all three series. He's typically a guy that races pretty cautiously in the Cup Series. He does fairly well in Daytona. I don't mind him at 6,900 and starting 29.
No, I think he's more of a GPP. He's not one of my favorite ones in the pool.
Yeah.
He's one that I feel is acceptable.
Sure.
The guy below him, Lab, is one that I really do like here, though.
Is this a 36?
Yes.
That's the one. Yeah, I'm going to have to be on Team Labby as well.
Even though he finished dead last race, he started 19th, but I think he ran into some trouble that wasn't his
perfect. People will be off him for it.
Exactly. And people might be box score like, oh man, he burned me last time, I'm not going to play him, and fade a really good play. And I think he's definitely a good play there. So
I like it. Yeah, Massey and Castle.
Well, I think let's pause here. Okay. I think we got to talk about Massey, Little, and Mills all together because they're all BJ McLeod cars. And
okay.
But there's two things here. Okay. BJ McLeod cars strategically stay as far back as possible to avoid crashes. And it works. And these cars, most of the time, end up in the top 20s. However, there's a slight concern about the quality of them and mechanically, are they going to make it? Parsons was in a McLeod car. The 99, the same one that Massey's in here. He finished at Daytona. He finished 13th, so that's not bad. Little, I think he's definitely a very good conservative driver when it comes to these tracks. Can stay out of trouble. He finished 17th at Daytona. So, that's definitely, and Daytona is definitely, this year, it's a comparable track. And then Mills, there did he finish? He finished 16th. So you're talking all three of these cars finished in the top 15, 20. So, I mean, that's very impressive. So, and we'll get to this a little bit later, but what I'm doing is, when we talk about up top, I think one of the strategy is you can stack the cars in the back. And I know you're going to see in those 20 maxes, people are going to go 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and then 34, 30, and do all the combinations of probably the cars in the back. So if you think, that's going to be your winning strategy, if it's not a single entry and you don't nail it exactly, you're going to have a lot of duplicated lineups. But one thing that I do like is this McLeod program, what they have done, and if the cars hold up, is taking them and possibly pairing them with guys up top. There's 4 Gibbs cars in there. There's 2 drivers. When we get to the top, we'll talk about that I have builds where I alternate between the 2 that are up way up at the top, and the 2 other guys are kind of in the middle of the pack. I really like that lineup where I've got, like 3 out of the 4 Gibbs cars and 3 BJ McLeod cars. And, I have some place differential, but I also have a little bit of place differential up top, but 3 guys that can potentially lead or win this race. The same thing with the Kahlua program too. There's 3 Kahlua cars. So you could go Kahlua, BJ McLeod. I wouldn't, maybe
Yeah.
maybe take a one off, because again, just where the Kahlua cars are starting, it doesn't make sense to take like 2 of the guys that are like in the same spot. But the one thing that we did see at Talladega, and it was, or not Talladega, but at Daytona, if you guys remember back in February, is the Gibbs cars got together and they pretty much ran out front and just kind of like locked everybody else out. They got up there and they were leading the race for most of the race. So
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like the last couple of weeks where we've like been trying to find these dominators and the guys getting out front, and we're talking about like 200, 300, 400 laps. There's not many laps here to get fastest laps. The lead changes so often between, you have like 2 lines alternating. You could have like 5 different lead changes within 1 lap, but it's whoever crosses the line at the right time that gets the points for it. And fastest laps are pretty much dispersed too. So so getting back to our regular scheduled program here, that's the BJ McLeod cars. So we got 2 JD Motorsports cars in between, Landon Castle and Jeffrey Earnhardt. I really like Landon Castle. I think he is one of my favorite plays down here. I think he's going to be one of the chalkier plays down here, just simply because he is such an experienced driver at these plate tracks, and he knows how to stay out of trouble, and he generally usually does pretty well. He finished 23rd here in Daytona. He started 33rd, so there's 10 differential points there. He's starting 32nd here. I think 22nd is maybe the floor. I think he can definitely get up into the top high 20s, maybe even to the top 15.
Yeah. Just to kind of jump on what you were saying about strategy, I think a lot of the place differential makes sense. And yeah, I'm not looking for lead laps, but I am looking for finishing position. And not everyone is going to wreck out. Like, you just can't assume, the top 20 cars are going to wreck in the whole lead. It's not going to just automatically flip flop. You're going to have to be able to figure out somewhat luck and somewhat knowing who's, a consistent driver can stay out of trouble. You can kind of just bank on that having a high DNF rate. Like someone like Gregson, we'll get to it, but you know what I mean? Like, we all know Gregson's a wild card and is typically someone we're not taking on plate tracks. But yeah, so finishing position is going to make a big deal too. I know we're talking about the back and all of its glory is place differential, but finishing position is going to mean something as well. So I don't mind Castle. The 10 place differential points will seemingly work, and I feel stronger about him on a consistent basis than I would someone like Baccarella or Gase.
Right.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Earnhardt's a teammate there. I think he's in a similar situation. I don't like him as much as Castle, but I do like him better than, some of the other guys that we mentioned up there, Baccarella, Starr, Curley.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have Jesse? Oh, we talked about Little. We have Joe Groff. He's somewhat of a favorite amongst the industry at times.
Yeah,
I haven't seen much out of him. Yeah.
The problem with him is he tries to run up front. Like they do like weird pit strategies and stuff, and they try to like lead laps and stay with the front pack, but they don't have the car to do it, and they end up in the middle like danger zone of like the inexperienced drivers who have good equipment that are not purposely in the back, and that's where most of your trouble ends up. So I think he's probably one of the riskier ones back here.
I'm going to put a big R next to Mr. Groff.
Yeah. Colby Howard too. I kind of feel the same way about him.
I've played him numerous times at Daytona. It never seems to work.
Yeah, he started 20th. He finished 35th. And
he got wrecked out early.
Yeah, so it wasn't.
But I mean, he's starting 37th this time around. If he can stay patient, he can be a optimal play. He's certainly not going to just Certainly not going to just throw away a play starting 37th on a plate track because of how wild he can be in his car. If he nails it, then he could have some top 15 upside given how crazy this race could end up. So I
Yeah,
don't mind
he's just more
Howard.
riskier because he's one like
Yeah.
that's like trying to be up in that lead pack, and
Yeah.
it's just dangerous. So stay in your lane, buddy.
Right.
Natalie Decker,
Natalie Decker.
trucks too, and we call her Natalie Wrecker, but
Yeah.
on plate tracks, she finished, I believe, 10th at Daytona, and trucks in the fall or in the spring race in 2020. Like she has a decent average running position here, so it's like
It's
in the
just the
20s.
DNF rate that scares you.
Yeah.
She can wreck out pretty early, and she's been battling health issues for what seems like most of the season. That's why White has been tagging in for her in the truck series from time to time. And Natalie Decker is certainly a decent play at 38th. Same rules applied that I was talking about with Howard. You can't dismiss a guy that's starting 37th the same way you can't dismiss Decker, but they're both GPP plays given their volatility.
That's the exact word I was going to use.
Yeah.
Ryan
Vargas.
Equipment. Like he's one of the ones that like always starts through the back and just doesn't seem to have the speed. He might finish the race, but he's like 5 to 10 laps down. So in a war of attrition, I think it helps, but I just don't. Although he did finish 18th here at Daytona.
I think I was by default.
Yeah. I think better than Decker, Howard, or Graff. So yeah, okay. Sold. Not one of my favorite ones, but he's better than some.
Yeah. All right. So now that we've talked about the back of the field and we got through the strategy of that.
Well, we forgot the 40th car was probably.
Oh, I thought we already talked about White.
No. Well,
that's the free square.
Yeah. White finished 10th at Daytona. He's just back here just because of the way that the draw is. So White started 40th at Daytona, finished in the top 10. I don't necessarily say he's got a top 10 car again, but his average running position or finishing position is in the high 20s. So it's like 21st. Yeah. So, or like 21.9. So the 21st, 22nd, I'll take that. That's definitely, you could be looking anywhere from like 35 to 45 DK points just from like place differential with him. And, you're not going to see like scores like you did last week with like up in the hundreds with like all the laps led and stuff like that with somebody dominating the race. So a score in like the 30s or 40s is like really, really good for this track. And 8,400, again, he's a little bit more expensive than the guys in the back, but it doesn't matter because we're not going to use all the salary anyways.
Exactly. Salary is no issue. White is a lock, a free square of sorts. I thought we had already discussed it before we jumped into the back. But yeah, love the play. Going to move on from that. And then we'll talk about the top of the field. We're going to have to nail this portion of the race because of how not everybody can wreck out of the race, and we need to make sure we get the guy that does finish the race within this top, I would say 23. Cars 20 to 23 are all fades. Spoiler alert. So I'd say the top 20. Do you have any interest in Buford, Weatherman, Garrett, or Tommy Joe Martins?
No.
Yeah, I didn't either.
No, and no.
Right. So we're talking the top 20 here.
Yes.
Cindric on the pole. Have you ever played the pole sitter on a plate track?
Yes, but it wasn't a wise decision.
Right.
And he's definitely head of the class here, and definitely could win this. He could get out there.
Something I've never done.
Yeah,
I've never played.
It's hard.
It's going to be a common mistake.
He's finished every race this year, and is his 4 races here. He's got a 25% DNF rate, so he's finished 3 out of 4 races. He has 2 top 5s out of the 4 starts. His average finish is 18.2, which is probably with the one
DNF,
crash.
yeah.
But he's only led like 2.65% of the laps that he's run here, so that's not a huge percentage. So I think he'll be popular just based on namesake and stuff. And I think a lot of the people that don't watch this video and don't know much about like how to build a plate race will gravitate towards him. So let them pay the rake.
Yep. That's a fade for me. I'm not going to be playing many cars inside this top 5. Next, we have Daniel Hemrick. Same rules apply. I don't play the guy that's placed second either, because I don't think the guys in top 5.
Hemrick is really good at plate track racing, though. So sure, I know this is super risky, but I could see us in a GPP. And as I was talking about stacking the Gibbs between Hemrick and Burton, right? Hemrick and Burton are the ones that I would alternate between. I would not put both in the same lineup, but definitely between the two of them, I prefer Hemrick.
Yeah, you're going to have to win with anyone inside the top 5.
Yeah.
So if you're taking them, take them knowing that, okay, I got Hemrick top at least 5 with maybe some laps led, and he's going to finish the race. So next you have Harrison Burton. As we mentioned, salary doesn't matter, so I'm not really stretching myself to get to this salary. Just because he's
the one thing with Hemrick is like he's led almost 16% of the laps that he's run here. He wants to get out front. He's good at getting out front. He is good at leading this race, so he will get you some points there. So that I can definitely make a case for him. But anyways, I know it still is risky though. But for who we say Grayson,
Burton. We had Burton and then Gregson.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, thank you on Gregson. That is going to be probably the worst play on the slate, given his enemies on the track. Like we could easily see, and this is what we're going to have. We're going to have Cindric on the bottom, Hemrick on the top, Burton on the bottom, Gregson on the top. So you're going to have Hemrick right in front of Gregson. So I already see what's going to happen here. Writing is on the wall.
It hasn't been long enough for them to forget that.
It has not been long enough. Easter was not that long ago. We have Haley sitting at 9,200.
I really like him.
He's had some decent performances in this series before. I just haven't seen any kind of flashy wow moments from him as I did last year when he came on the scene. I think he's starting too high. I'm probably not going to play him.
Out of the last 5 plate tracks, he has had the highest running position and finishing position out of any driver.
Oh, wow. Well, there you have it. Are you in? Are you in on Haley?
Yeah. I really like him. If I'm stacking the back, he's the guy that I'm picking up top to be the winner of this race.
There you go.
That's my bold call right there. Hey, this is Haley's race to lose.
Interesting, because I was going to say that about Josh Berry starting 6th. I like Junior Motorsports at any Talladega track. That is automatic to me. When you have one of the best plate track drivers of all time as your team owner, you're coming off of a win in recent weeks. You have the number 8 car, synonymous with victory lane at Talladega, 8,100. I mean, the salary doesn't matter. Josh Berry is probably my favorite
this week.
Yes, we have.
I am completely out on him. He started 9th in his one and only plate track because he didn't have much plate track experience before this.
No.
And he finished 27th. So.
Oh, I'm sure it's not going to look good on the surface, but this is a total gut feel play. I love Josh Berry this week. I think he wins. That's my winner this week.
Okay.
Junior Motorsports, all in, all the time at Talladega, never going to fail. Brandon Jones at 10-2.
No.
It's whatever was said about Gregson. Just he's
part of my Gibbs stack though. like I said, like stacking Gibbs with like McLeod or some other guys from the back, I definitely, like him, Hemrick or Burton, and then we'll get to the final Gibbs cut her, which is probably the best play on the team coming off. Stay tuned.
Yeah. I'm out on Jones. I've seen him wreck way too many times, not even on plate track. And
Right.
you put him into plate track, no thanks. Allgaier, I have a lot of interest in starting 8th. More Junior Motorsports for TK, 10-4. Going to have a lot of Barry and Allgaier lineups. Probably too many, but those are my favorite 2 plays up here in the top 10. Probably the only 2 plays
I have him as a fade also. So
you're crazy. How are you not playing any junior cars at Talladega?
No.
Oh my gosh. All right. I'm going Barry and
definitely have her head to head here.
You're going Haley and Hemrick. So next up we have is this Jeb Burton or Harrison Burton?
This is Jeb.
This is Jeb.
And I like this. This is part of like the Clueless stack that I'm looking at also with Haley, with Burton and Allmendinger, who's only starting 2 more down. Snyder, we can just eliminate him in the middle there, right?
He could. Well, no, he wrecks a lot. I'm out on Snyder. That's going to be another fade. He did
finish 7th here, but he's a little bit risky. So
I don't mind Jeb. Jeb's a pretty consistent, normal driver.
So I like it. This Clue program is really good at this track, and I think that's another group that's going to get together in a line and like help bump draft each other, and be up there in the front of the pack.
Yeah, and Jeb Burton's going to be right in front of Allmendinger as well. So I like that on the start. I think I was already in on Allmendinger. I already had him circled. So pretty much my favorite play is just a little recap here. Allmendinger, Barry, Allgaier, and you're kind of selling me on Jeb Burton a little bit too. So I'm going to put a star next to his name. And I guess I have to play Haley because I can't be on the losing end of the head-to-head and not be on the winning end of my lineups. So I've just been doing that every week. So we both love Allmendinger, I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah, I like the place differential there. I like, again, salary doesn't matter. So, but he's one that can get up and lead here, and he's really become a well-rounded driver. Like he was pretty much just the road guy, and now he's like pretty much doing everything and could be competing for a title here. So,
yep, yeah, I love it. Michael Annette, 8,600. Junior rules apply for TK. Any interest in Michael Annette?
I didn't even look at these teams when I like marked these guys as fades. So
I don't know. I'm not fading Junior Motorsports. Now Annette is probably my least favorite of the top 15.
We're gonna have to publish. We're gonna have to. We'll make this head to head, and we'll put the links in the comments so you guys can follow along and see how.
We should definitely. We have Brett Moffatt, who just recently decided to shift all of his points and championship race to the Xfinity Series. So this is a very important race for Brett Moffatt. He's not racing for the trucks title anymore, and he is going for it in the Xfinity Series, where it looks like a better chance to win a championship.
Well, didn't he move to a like inferior team in truck anyways? So
yes, he's racing with Nice in truck, and he has decided to go all in.
Was he with Kyle Busch last year? I can't remember.
I can't remember either. Does not matter. No, but yeah, Brett Moffatt, this seems like an important race. Coming out and saying that you're going to be all in on the Xfinity Series starting 13th in a highly volatile race. Do you have any interest?
Well, he finished second in Daytona, but I think there was a lot of luck in that. And I just say, hey, Brett, you should have made that decision next week. Honestly. So
yeah, I'm willing to fade based on not much other than I like a couple of drivers behind him more.
Yeah.
And I'm playing. I can't play too many players or drivers up here in this top 15. Right. Knowing that, so I guess he's just kind of like an odd man out, but I wouldn't mind if I land on him. I think it's okay, whatever. I land on him, and I've already got a couple of drivers around his salary range that I'm not really, I guess I could leave the salary, but if I land on him and I feel comfortable with it, I think it's a fine play.
I
I'm a
don't
big,
hate it, but like you said, there's better plays.
yeah. Jeremy Clements, I'm a big Jeremy Clements truther. If you've been listening along all year, and he is a really good plate racer, so I'm definitely in on Clements. I think you knew that heading in.
I'm always a GPP. I just worry about these single team, like it's a family owned team. I don't know if they have any tech affiliates or anything, but like for
He
setup and
seems
stuff,
to.
it is a plate race, but you don't have like all the same notes as like some of the other teams have to compare. Even in the middle of the race, like with the Gibbs having 4 cars out there of notes to compare, and Clua having 3 cars out there of notes to compare, I don't know.
He's
I
a
don't
really good
hate it.
plate racer. Top 10 at Daytona.
I think we found your whole head-to-head lineup here. Well, because we don't need to worry about place differential, guys. We just should build a lineup with these top guys and see how we do.
Okay. I like that idea. I like that. We have Josh Williams.
Now I like
55. You like Williams over Clements? Come on.
Okay, there's one for team Mega.
I honestly have him as a fade. I think he's starting way too high, and I don't think he's got any kind of upside here.
I think
he'd have to finish inside the top 10.
I think I'm writing him down for my team.
Well, I mean, it doesn't make sense though, because he's got to finish inside the top 10, and just to get place differential, and then finishing. I know top 15 finishing position is good, but he's not guaranteed that, and I think that's volatile to me compared to a guy that I know can finish inside the top 10, even though they're both single teams, right? Like, am I crazy?
Oh, well, okay.
Clements has a better track record than Williams.
Okay, let's look at Talladega Fall, Clements 22nd, Williams 14th. Daytona Spring 20, Clements 22nd, Williams 19th. Daytona Fall 20, Clements 18th, Williams 11th. So
what about this year?
This year, in the Daytona race, Williams was 21st.
Where did Williams finish?
21st, and Clements finished 22nd. It's on.
I thought Clements finished the top 10.
No,
he must have wrecked late, because he was running inside that top 10 all day. Well, all right, there we go. Clements versus Williams. Any interest in Ty Dillon?
Absolutely. Love him.
Yeah.
He, like, how many more chances is he going to have in Xfinity and Cup? Like, he pretty much lost his Cup ride. He's been here, but
he's got a lot to prove.
Exactly. And he's decent. Like, we loved playing him because he did have some consistency. He just wasn't like elite top tier winning driver when it came to Cup. So, and he's in the 54 car, which is the Kyle Busch car, which is the car that.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Find me another lock button.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs has been in, and this is a very good car, very good team, and it is my favorite one out of the Gibbs cars.
Thou shall not fade to 54.
Right, and I see him getting up there and being in the top group, leading the race, and the place differential is there. It's a really, I mean, it's not as great as the guys in the back, but I think he can rise up as much as somebody from 40th to 20th if he goes up from that mathematically doesn't work, but somebody goes from 40 to the low 20s. If Ty Dillon gets 10 place differential points, like we're talking about, some of the guys at the bottom of this, it's the same math.
Yeah.
But you win it with D2.
There's no way he doesn't finish in the optimal lineup as long as he stays on it. If he stays on the track, he's in the optimal lineup. I think that's a top 5 car and any track any day of the week. So as long as Ty Dillon keeps all 4 wheels on the track, he's probably inside the top 5.
He finds his teammates. They get together in a plate pack. They just run around this like it's a parade. He
does have to come up from the back, but that doesn't take long at Talladega.
Yeah, and you're talking if you can go 3-4 wide, starting 16th is starting in the 8th row. So if you divide that too, it shouldn't take too long to get up and find his partners.
Right. So big group think on Ty Dillon this week. Probably I like him as well. Ryan Sieg at 98.
Why is he priced so high? I know pricing doesn't
They do this
matter,
all the
but
time.
yeah, I
They do
don't
this all the
get
time to
it.
Sieg.
It-
He
but
had a great season last year. I think this is
yeah,
based on last year's result.
he finished. He started 13th. He finished 31st here. He is a
I'm
little.
not playing
Yeah, he
him.
acts. Yeah, definitely not playing. GPP maybe just because there is a little place differential there, but no.
Sure.
Okay, next.
Yeah. Brandon Brown.
Like
Decent.
him?
Yeah, decent small team. I got a little star next to him already.
Yeah.
And yeah, Brandon Brown's got
He
some really
finished
good
sixth
finishes.
in Daytona, so
Yeah, he's got some good finishes this year as well. I'm running out of guys here. Riley Herbst, I think, is the last one we will have to talk about.
oh, and this one's hard because the
Yeah, it is.
team and the car is built for this track. It is definitely a plate team.
He's just a shitty driver.
Yeah.
Like Kyle Busch is going to have this guy set up for
And this is going
success
back to like if you
every
ever
track.
watch the Cup video, it's Stuart Haas really does a poor job in selecting talent to drive their cars.
Yeah, Herbst, I'm not a fan of. Like I see this car on the track and I just go, "What a dead car!" And it's such like a dead driver in such a fast car. It just irritates the heck
And
out of me.
I see the 98 and I just think like back to last year, like, hey, this is Chase Briscoe. And it just kind of wonder if he moving up the Cup, as we talked about again in the Cup preview last week, we seemed to think it was kind of premature. We don't think that they anticipated Clint Boyer just up and retiring, and they had a ride for him, so they moved him up. Was his success last year a product more of the team and the equipment than their actual driver?
I think we got our answer.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna I don't know. I might be fading Hurst. You got to take a stance somewhere.
Yeah.
I
I think he's gonna be highly owned just from like where he's starting, and again, like
him and C
and the name. But again, we'll just have to see with the builds. But like I said, most of my builds have 4 or 5 guys from the back, and we're looking at like one guy up top or 2 guys up top. So I think ultimately for me, Haley and Ty Dillon, and then Castle White, and then pick the other 2.
Sure. Yeah, and I think the salary helps you. You don't have to use so many guys in the back if you think like, okay, there's not if this race goes unscathed. I mean, typically on play tracks, it'll go like 60 laps, just kind of like wreck free. Like this last Daytona Cup was kind of like an outlier before that rain delay hit. They had the big one, and you're kind of looking at dead lineups for 16 hours. But yeah, I mean, this will probably go unscathed for 60 laps or so, and then you'll get down to the final 40 laps, and all heck will break loose. So, but I think that'll wrap things up for us. Megan, do you have anything else to add?
No, I just hope we can get this in with the weather.
Yeah, same. Okay, so that'll do it for us for the Xfinity Series at Talladega. I'm your host, TK Nation 47. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow Megan Ruler 31 on Twitter as well. Follow our Twitter handle at FSI_DFS. You can find the link to the Discord chat in the bio, and then you can get all the projections, core lineups, and free advice. So join us, and we'll talk to you then, and see you for the Cup video. All right, guys, enjoy.